application, that this should be, you can see here, if the application is SSL type of application, it's not mentioned here. Let me just find out. You can see here, let me just make it a bigger. So if the application is the SSL type of application, right? So it is going to mark that application because this application required to be SSL decrypted, and it is going to mark that application. This should go via SSL proxy, and further this again going to send to a packet for the decryption. Right, but let's say this is a simple application, okay, right? And this required to go with the content inspection policy where Palo Alto has been decided whether the packet should go with the content inspection, because you have enabled different types of profile, okay, so it should be go with the content inspection, okay, and based on that Palo Alto is going to decide that whether the traffic should be passed or not. So content inspection for the packet is required, let's say. So if the content inspection for the packet is required and application doesn't match SSL kind of decryption, so it is going to send the packet for the content inspection, and you can see the content inspection it would do at once. At the same time, it is going to do the content inspection, it is going to check the user ID, etc., and it is going to check the networking function. All those things it is going to check at once. So in content inspection, basically this is going to look that the protocol which is passing through the firewall, is that protocol behavior is modified or this is a normal. So here it is going to look for the protocol parsing, okay, protocol decoding, whether the protocol is actual or it is just a duplicate protocol. So all those things it is going to check. Whether the content is kind of tunneled application, okay, so if the content is kind of tunnel application, so it is going to decrypt here and then it is going to check the content. And if there is any content which is matching with the signature and the signature is saying that this content is malicious, okay, so it is going to define the category that the malicious, this content is malicious, and it could be marked as a low, it could be marked as a high because of signature, because in Palo Alto Firewall there would be different types of signature for different profile. For antivirus should have the signature. So if there is anything is matching with the existing signature, so according that this is going to generate the alert. So whatever the action you have set on the security profile, okay, for the low, critical or high vulnerabilities or signature, okay, according to that it is going to take the action, whether the traffic should send through the send alert or session should be discarded. All those things it is going to decide over here. And then if traffic is good, nothing is suspicious, traffic is fine, no detection happen, okay, it's a clean. So further it is going to go for SSL proxy. It is going to re-encrypt the packet because now the packet required to send to the destination. So it is just going to re-encrypt the packet over here, right? So re-encryption would happen if the packet was SSL and it has earlier decrypted it. If the packet is normal, not a SSL, okay, so re-encryption is not required, then it is going to send that packet for the forwarding process. Now packet would go to egress side, and finally here the packet is going to route to the destination side. So let me just clear this. And show you packet forwarding process. So in packet forwarding process, this is going to use the egress interface to get the forwarding domain or destination information. So let's say forwarding, when it is forwarding the packet, so packet is kind of layer 2 packet, okay, so for that this is going to look for the layer 2 routes. If layer 3, this is going to looks for the layer 3 routes, or if this is vwire, so it is just going to look the forwarding interface and just forwarding the packet. So here it would collect the information about the forwarding, okay, that whether this packet required to forward through which egress interface. Okay. Now packet would go to the egress interface here. On egress interface, this is going to, sorry, packet would go to egress process, and here it is going to decide whether the packet um, is QS shaping, packet required to be QS shaping. If earlier it was detected packet was a QS, and for the QS packet, obviously it required to see inside the packet what is the DSCP value, etc. So all those things, if it has seen, so here it would do the QS shaping. Again, it would shape the packet. If a packet required fragmentation, it is going to do the fragmentation. And finally, it is going to check whether the packet required to process through the tunnel. Why it is required to process through the tunnel? Because if this is IPsec packet, so it required to process through the tunnel, then it is going to send that IPsec packet to the tunnel interface, okay, and tunnel interface again going to send the packet to the forwarding process. So here, once packet gets encrypted, again it is going to looks for the final destination and then going to forward the packet via egress interface. So if packet is normal, not a tunnel packet, then packet get transmitted. So this is all process would happen through your firewall. What I would do, let me just create a scenario so that I can show you uh, the real-time transaction for slow
Okay.
path and fast path. Yeah.
Okay, Amar, where we can check that the traffic is belongs to which means which interface type, like it's related to tap interface, it is a virtual wire, means v wire, it's L3, means where we can check.
That this is what kind of traffic you mean to say?
Yes,
I think we
in,
can
in the
see in the
starting in
packet
the starting in the starting we can check, because I
in
think
the starting we can check only.
yes,
Yes,
okay,
because
interface type I'm talking about, that
right,
which
yeah,
interface it is.
yeah. You can check
So
on the
in L2,
starting.
in L2 we can check the ARP, or you can say MAC address of the devices that extract the
Yes,
information of device. In
right.
L3 we can check it's belong to which interface, like L3 means, or IP based we can check. In L4 what we can check,
Protocol
uh,
information.
protocol information, yes, IP
Yeah,
fragment
and
assembly.
destination. Yeah, destination port, etc. All those things we can check.
Okay, that tuples we can check,
Yeah,
six
those
tuple we
six
can check.
six tuple. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, now let's go and let's do the configuration. So let me just do the configuration of the lab, and accordingly, I would just going to show you. Okay, let me just log in. Okay, so what we will see in lab scenario actually, I'm just going to configure this router as an external. So this router would belongs to untrust zone, which would get Ethernet 0/0 IP as a 100.0.0.10/24. This is Cisco router. So on this Cisco router, we will enable HTTP page so that we can access. And from this workstation, which interface is Ethernet 1, this is a trust interface. I mean, this belongs to trust zone. This is trust zone, which would get the IP 192.168.2.10/24. So we will generate the traffic from this machine to this router, and traffic would go to this switch interface, okay, which having the IP 192.168.2.1/24, and Ethernet 1/2, which would be having the IP 100.0.0.1. So it is just untrust interface. So traffic will be going via you know um, using this path. Let me just write the path in red way. From workstation, if I generate the traffic to access this router using HTTPS, so traffic would go to this network switch. From network switch, this traffic is going to hit this firewall Ethernet 1/interface, then it traffic would go within the firewall. On that, we apply the policy to allow the traffic, and further, and in this entire conversation, we are just going to do packet capture on the firewall, and that packet capture we are just going to analyze, right? And we will see that how the traffic is flowing through. Okay, whatever we have learned so far. So I'm just going to open the logs and going to show you that this is the process of fast path, or this is the process of slow path. So let me just do that. So let's go to Palo Alto Firewall. Let's log in here. Let me just configure this because right now is nothing configured. So let's me log in. I'm just going to configure management interface. Let's open that workstation. So this workstation has two interfaces. One interface would be used to access the firewall using the management IP. Let me check if I can ping to the firewall. Okay, that means my connectivity is there, and other interface I'm just going to use as a LAN, and this would belongs to trust zone. So I would assign IP to trust zone 168.2.10. Subnet mask would be 255, and the actual IP would be 192.168.2.1. And this is, let's leave it right now. All right. Now I would try to access the firewall over here. HTTPS colon slash slash 190, sorry, it would be 100, sorry, 10.0.0.1. All right, let me just quickly configure the interfaces. Ethernet 1/1, we had decided that this would be internal interface. So I would define as a layer 3. John is trust. This is layer 3, and this is external interface. which is untrust, and the IP address 100.0.0.1/24. Okay, I would create a policy to allow the traffic. So to allow the traffic in between this workstation and R1. So for R1, let me just create a policy. This is web access router. Okay, then let's go to source. Click on add. Source is my trust zone. Source address is 192.168.2.10. This is single IP. The user is any, destination address is untrust, zone is untrust, and destination address is 100.0.0.10. Application is nothing, but this is a web browsing application. And service port is already would be taken by application. Action is allowed. Okay, let's commit the changes. All right, so let's go further. And let's see how the traffic is flowing through. So first of all, I'm just sending the ping traffic from this system to check the connectivity, whether the connectivity is happening or not. And before that, I need to configure this router. So let's configure the router. Config. What is the interface of router? Ethernet 0/0. So int space Ethernet 0/0. Let's define IP address 100.0.0.10. Subnet mask would be 255.255.255.0. No shut. Do WR. From Palo Alto, let me check if I can ping the router. So exit, ping host 100.0.0.10. Okay, so it's trying to send from 10.0.0.1. This is management IP, and that's why it is not able to reach. But not an issue. Let me just check on the router. The routing table I need to decide. So let's exit and IP route. Default route of this router, I'm just putting towards my firewall. 100.0.0.1. Do WR. Okay. On here, I'm just allowing one more application, that is ping. Okay, so whether web browsing traffic or ping, this should be allowed.